Good morning, students. Today's class is the continuation of the previous class. So, today I am going to start from the fourth stage, that is the formation of hypothesis. I will start from that, formation of hypothesis. In that point, actually we are to clear two things. Number one, what is hypothesis, and number two, how to frame a hypothesis. These two things we are to clear. Now, what is hypothesis? Hypothesis means a provisional supposition. A hypothesis is a provisional supposition which we make in order to explain some facts or phenomena. In that stage, we frame a hypothesis or supposition to know what the cause of the phenomenon may be, because we always want to know the cause of a particular event, because every event must have a cause. In our everyday life, we are constantly making supposition to explain facts which come to our experience. So, before going to find the definite cause of a definite event, we first have to make supposition. So, for example, suppose on returning home in the evening, you find that your window glass of the room had been broken. The first question naturally arises, what is the cause? Why the window had been broken? Then you start doing hypothesis. Then you may suppose that a stone or something like that had been thrown against it. Now, depending on this supposition, you would look for the stone in the room, and if you find the stone in your room, that means your supposition is confirmed. But if you fail to find it, that means if no trace of stone can be discovered, then in that case your supposition is not working, and you may frame another supposition. That means you may again think that perhaps it was due to the violent closing of window by the wind that the glass of your window had been broken, and so on. So, these are hypotheses you make before find out the definite cause of a particular event. Now, the second question. The second question is how to frame a hypothesis. How to frame it? In order to determine what the real exposition is, what the real explanation is, we fix upon one to the possible explanation for further investigation, and this is what is called framing a hypothesis. What does it mean? Here, that which appears to be the most probable is provisionally selected for further investigation, and other are rejected or held in reverse. I repeat, that which appears to be the most probable is provisionally selected for further investigation, and others are rejected. Now, this thing happens during the process of elimination. During the process of elimination, I have told before, in the process of elimination, what we do? After eliminating or rejecting the irrelevant circumstances, we keep the relevant circumstances, and out of the relevant circumstances that are considered, some are taken as the provisional cause or provisional effect. This is known as the formation of hypothesis. For example, in order to know the cause of malarial fever, we first make a hypothesis that perhaps mosquito bite is the cause of malarial fever. So, this is all about the formation of hypothesis, and our next stage is generalization. What is generalization? Generalization is the process of arriving at a general or universal proposition on the basis of observation of particular instances. That means, suppose when you are generalizing that all men are mortal, what you do? First, you first say that Ram is mortal, Shyam is mortal, Jadu is mortal, Madhu is mortal, means particular instances you first have to take and then you generalize. After making these particular instances, Ram is mortal, Shyam is mortal, Jadu is mortal, etc., etc., you make a universal proposition. That means you generalize that all men are mortal. So, generalization is the process of arriving at a general or universal proposition on the basis of observation of particular instances. Once a hypothesis is framed, we then think that this hypothesis will be applicable not only to the instances that are observed, but to all the instances observed or unobserved. So, after the formation of hypothesis, our next step is generalization or inference of a general proposition on the observation of particular instances. When we find that a particular hypothesis explains the phenomenon under investigation in many instances, we then infer that it will explain the phenomenon in all cases and under all circumstances. Got it? Under all circumstances and in all cases. For example, the generalization in case of malaria, that is malarial fever, will be not in a particular cases, but in all cases mosquito bite is the cause of malarial fever. Now, according to Mill, induction is complete at this stage of generalization. But Jevons does not agree with Mill. He says that no, until the universal proposition arrived at by generalization is proved to be true, the process of induction continues. That means the very conclusion of induction, which is a universal proposition, is have to be proved. That means universal proposition need to be proved, need to be verified. So, our next stage is verification. What is verification then? Verification means examining whether the general proposition which is arrived at is really true by appealing to facts. That means we are to prove the conclusion of an induction which is an universal proposition whether it is materially true or not. And you all know a proposition becomes materially true if it agrees with facts of experience. So, the universal conclusion of induction applies to all the instances covered by the universal proposition needs to be proved. Okay. According to Jevon, that means Jevon says that verification is the most important stage in the inductive process, and the general proposition established at the previous stage cannot be said to be an induction unless it is verified. So, in that stage, after making an induction, we are to verify that whether its conclusion is materially true or not. That means whether it agrees with facts of experience or not, as induction deals with material truth also. So, here we need verification. Now, there are two kinds of verification. What are they? They are direct verification and indirect verification. What is direct verification? In direct verification, we directly observe the facts. Direct verification rather consists in direct appeal to the facts of experience, and how it is to be done? It may be done by either observation or experiment. That means, some cases are there where you can directly verify the conclusion either through observation or through experiment. With the help of experiment and observation, some cases can be verified. In such cases, the universal conclusion of induction is verified directly. Okay. And another is indirect verification. That means, in that cases you cannot verify directly. With observation and experiment, you cannot directly verify some cases. These are known as indirect verification, because here direct verification is not possible. Now, the question is then what to do in case of indirect verification? How to prove? Indirect verification consists in deduction. In such cases, that means in case of indirect verification, we are to take the help of deduction. According to this, how to prove indirect verification through deduction? In that case, the universal proposition is applied to particular cases and its truth is verified. I repeat, the universal proposition is applied to particular cases and its truth is verified. For example, let us take an universal proposition that in all cases mosquito bite causes malarial fever. Now, suppose Ram, Sham, Jadhu, Madhu are the patients, 4 patients suffering from malaria. Now, to prove this, what you are to do first? You are to observe whether all of them had mosquito bite or not. This is the first thing we are to do. You are to observe whether all of them had mosquito bite or not. And if it be so, means all are having mosquito bite. If it is so, then the universal proposition that all cases the bite of mosquito causes malaria will be proved to be true. Okay. So, this is the process of indirect verification. where we are to take the help of deduction. In direct verification, we can directly verify some cases through observation and experiment, but indirect verification consists in deduction. Now, after the verification part is over, that means the conclusion of induction is verified, then you will make the conclusion. So, our last stage of induction is conclusion. When the universal proposition is verified and proved to be true, it becomes the conclusion. So, the last stage of induction is the establishment of the conclusion, and when the universal proposition is verified and proved to be true, it becomes the conclusion. So, this is all about the stages of induction. In my next class, I will discuss the relation between deduction and induction. So, this much for today's class. I will stop here now. Thank you.